Boker Tov, what a beautiful Friday morning it is. It's a beautiful Friday morning here. Good to see people coming in for another Friday of memory and reflection and connection. Yes, Boker Tov indeed. Should be a wonderful day and a beautiful Shabbat beginning tonight. Lots to celebrate, lots to appreciate. Good to see people saying hello and saying Boker Tov. Boker Tov from Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto. This is our opportunity each day as we get together and as we look at the situation in our lives, in our world, and as we count our blessings. This is our daily opportunity to connect and to reflect and to remember. And so I'm so pleased to have the opportunity again for us to be here together this morning. It means, wow, it means so much to be together with those that we can't be physically together with and to know that we're connected as well. And so I'm pleased to have the opportunity this morning to be together, recite a psalm this morning as part of our tefillah, as part of our services. But let's begin with our prayer for awakening. Just need to sort of feel how good it is to be here and to be upright and to join in these words together. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. The soul, what a gift. The soul you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. Today really feels like a learning type day, so let's join in the prayer for Torah study both in Hebrew and in English today. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה. וערב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ובפי עמך בית ישראל ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you sanctify our lives with mitzvot and command us to engage in Torah study. Eternal our God, may your words of Torah be sweet to us. Let every generation, young and old, the whole family of Israel come to know you through the study of Torah for its own sake. Eternal God, we praise you as the teacher of Torah to the people of Israel. And we're going to join together in Baruch She'amal, since we are going to recite a psalm today. And why don't we recite the traditional words of Baruch She'amal on the left? If they're difficult, please feel free to go through the modern words on the right yourself as we say Baruch She'amal. Baruch She'amal v'haya ha'olam, Baruch hu, Baruch oseh v'reshit, Baruch omer v'yoseh, Baruch gozer u'mkayem, ברוך מרחם על הארץ, ברוך מרחם על הבריות, ברוך משלם שכר טוב ליראיו, ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח, ברוך פודה ומציל, ברוך שמו. בשבחות ובזמרות נגדלך ונשבחך ונפארך, ונזכיר שמך ונמליכך מלכנו אלוהינו, יחיד חי העולמים, מלך משובח ומפואר, עד שמו הגדול. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mulal betishpachot. And as we continue our journey through Elul, And toward Yamim Noraim, toward the high holidays, let's recite Psalm 121 today. Psalm of Journeys. Shir Ma'alot. I will look only upward, past the mountains, for my help comes from the one beyond. My help comes from the eternal, maker of heaven and earth. Ever alert, your guardian will never allow your foot to stumble. The guardian of Israel never rests, never sleeps. The eternal will watch over you as a shadow cast by your right hand. You will not be overcome by the sun, nor abandoned by the moon. The eternal will guard you from all evil, watching over you. The eternal will guard you as you set out and as you return from this very moment until the end of time. That image as a shadow cast by your right hand is a powerful image, that God is like a shadow in that way. It's usually understood, and I always understood it, as meaning that God is always with us, that in fact, even when we feel most alone, God is with us in our narrow times, that we are in fact never alone. But quoted in Moshe Idel's book on Kabbalah, the Midrash Hashkem, the mystical Midrash, says it actually quite differently. It says that God is like our shadow on our right hand. How? That our shadow only moves in this world when we move. That in fact, God moves in this world through us. And that if we're looking to see the divine in the world, and we don't, it's because we're not creating that ourselves. That everything we do, all of our good deeds, all of our prayerful deeds, all of those things, in fact, really bring the divine presence into the world. It's an incredible opportunity and truly a profound responsibility. With an awareness of our responsibilities as we go on our way, as we lie down and as we rise up, let's join together in reciting Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, V'chol levavecha, V'chol nafshecha, V'chol meodecha. V'ayu advarim ha'ele, Asher Anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochvecha uvkumecha. Kshartam laot al yadecha, v'ayu letotafot ben enecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. It is a wonderful opportunity each morning for us to have the opportunity to really be together and to allow the words of our prayers to help us reflect on our day. And it's wonderful when there are sweet and positive reflections that we have in our world. And it is quite challenging when the reflections are in fact of a different nature. I grew up in Chicago. Chicago is a city where, in fact, even the youth group, the Jewish youth group I was part of, was made up of Jewish people from Chicago and Jewish people from Milwaukee. Halfway between the two is the small city of Kenosha, Wisconsin, the place where Jacob Blake had his life taken during this past week. Over all this time, it's been really painful and challenging, even as one not directly affected, to watch the reality of anti-Black racism continue to play itself out really everywhere. Certainly in the societies that I experience here in Toronto, it continues to be a reality in the United States with a very different history, and to watch the pain, to see the juxtaposition of a woman of Black and Asian background, of being nominated to be the vice president of the United States. And at the same time, after this issue has been with us for so many months, to see that while there may have been progress. I was talking to a leader of our movement who deals with social issues in the States just this week, and he commented that this movement, the movement that makes the statement that Black Lives Matter, which is not the name of an organization, by the way, but is a statement, is an umbrella that's become a name for what he described numerically in the United States as the largest social movement in the history of the United States. On the one hand, the fact that people are awakened and are taking issues of prejudice and hatred, in this case against African Americans and other Black Americans, is something that is important and that is necessary and that is significant. And the fact that these kind of horrific events, where Jacob Blake was wounded so grievously from behind in this event, continues to tell us that while there are policies to be addressed, that hatred is one person at a time, that the life of every kind of hatred, including anti-Black hatred, including anti-Semitism, including anti-Islamic bigotry, including each and every kind of prejudice, hearts and minds need to be one person at a time. And even likewise, in a week where we've had to acknowledge the pain and the wounds inflicted on society, and specifically on Jacob Blake as a person, we also had the murder of a rabbi in Israel, the first terrorist murder of anyone for many, many months. Rabbi Shai Ochion had his life taken this past week, standing calmly, waiting for a ride. It was there that his life came to an end. And the background of this was not about politics. It wasn't about nations. It was about one person. And the world that each person is, that any person, whether wounded like Jacob Blake or murdered like Rabbi Ochion, each of us, in fact, is an entire world, and what affects our lives affects everyone around us like ripples in a pond. So these kind of painful, horrific attacks are in fact attacks that we say the names of the person directly affected, but we can't possibly name all the names, even of the people directly affected, let alone of those who are affected in a larger societal manner. I think we need to be aware of that in a painful way, but we also have to, as we reflect on the challenges in our society, we have to be aware of this in a positive way as well. And we have to know that it means that when we stand up against bigotry, when we make statements that anti-Black hatred will not be tolerated and that Black lives do matter, when we make a statement that anti-Semitism, as such an ancient and yet virulent and present form of prejudice, is still so much with us, and that each act must be opposed and rejected. When we do that, when we actually stop someone around us, either who's doing that knowingly or is even doing that passively, because these things insidiously work their way systematically into our society, when we do that, we send out these positive ripples as well. And I hope we have the courage to stop, just like many professional athletes forced a stop, saying that hatred and violence cannot be accepted as business as usual by anyone, especially by police, especially by the authorities of the state. When that happens, there is an opportunity that will not sadly help the families of either of these individuals, but might prevent these kinds of horrific violent acts from taking place in the future. And so this morning on Fridays, when we tend to focus in our Boker Tov on the larger world, I couldn't help but focus on the attacks on these two individuals and our responsibility, our opportunity to do everything we can in the circle in which we live to prevent the kind of hatred that is at the base of these acts from taking place. This morning, I hope we can have the courage of our convictions of whatever situations we find ourselves in order to make those kinds of powerful statements that are so desperately needed. We need to bring healing to our society, as well as we pray for the healing of Jacob Blake and all those who are hearing again yesterday of a member of our congregation who's suffering with COVID-19. Even though the numbers are down, and I'm glad the numbers are down, they're not gone. And each person affected is deeply affected, as are those who take risks every day to keep us safe. And so for all of them, let's join in these words of Refuah. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel Hu yirapeh kol makotenu yiratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu lachalimam u'lerapotam yishlach lanu mehera refuah shlema v'ateret shalom v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom. And together we say, Amen. And so as we connect and reflect this morning, we also take our time to remember. And so as we do, we remember those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our life with our own. And so in the period of Shloshim, we extend our condolences to the families of Edith Grossman, Terry Fern Rossman, Alan Dubras, and Ann Shannon. And it is our sad duty to report the death of our member, Aaron Peisel, husband of Stella, father of Joanne Heller and Harold Peisel, and brother of Ruth Levine. The funeral will take place today at 2 p.m. from Pardes Shalom Temple Sinai section. And we remember all victims of violence and terror, including Rabbi Shai Elchion. And on your site on this 8th day of Elul, on the anniversaries of their deaths, we remember Sean Bloomberg, Wiki Bricks, William Dick, Hendla Fagenman, Melvin Jacobs, Francis Levinsky, Lily Rottenberg, Wilfred Schlein, Samuel Silverstein, Joseph Soren, Alexander Tatarsky, Sybil Winston. Zichronam Levracha. May their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as together we turn to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope, as we turn to the words of the Kaddish Yatom. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'alam ul'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitpaleh v'yithalal shemet kudsha b'rechu ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran ve'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim Alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imo amen. Oseh shalom v'momav. Hu yaseh shalom. Alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imo amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all the bereaved among us. And let us say together, amen. Well, as it is the month of Elul, we continue by continuing our preparation, hearing the sound of shofar from in so many different places and by so many, and grateful to all those who are sounding shofar for us. Let's join together in these particular words of Ahu Achum. The most merciful desires atonement rather than destruction. God is eager to turn away from anger, not allowing the heat of hostility to awaken. Were the eternal to mark each transgression, only God knows who could yet stand. What would our evil acts say of us? Eternal One, show us your true nature. Remember your endless mercy and boundless kindness. Eternal God, answer us in our time of trouble. Let us feel your commanding presence as we call out in prayer. Source of goodness and guidance, be kind to us and answer us. When we have no good deeds upon which to rely, remake us in your righteous image for your purpose. Incline your ear to listen, open your eyes and see our emptiness. We cannot offer our prayers before you relying only on our righteousness. We are dependent on your great mercy. Have compassion for your people. Show mercy to those who honor your heritage. Be kind to us in your great mercy. Gently answer us, for among your daily wonders is your generosity with us. Strengthen us to seek your purpose. Have mercy upon us that we might live by your covenant. Look upon our troubles and answer us, for in your commanding presence, O God, we come to know kindness and mercy. Avinu malkenu chonenu vanenu, ki en banu ma'asim, tzedakah aseh imanu, lema'an shemecha. And now for our shofar blast for this morning. I don't think that Pup is going to offer it.
Tekiah.
Yishar Koach, Eric, and to all who are involved in our shofar blowing this month. May the month be meaningful, and may today be a wonderful day. Make it a great one, and have a Shabbat Shalom. Boker Tov.